Good morning, Wednesday morning, 5:30 a.m. pull workout today. Medium weight, 6 to 10 rep range. Just finished up my barbell rows, felt pretty good. I'm not pushing super duper hard right now because we're halfway through week 2 and starting to notice the calorie deficit a little bit, so I'm not going to push to failure and beyond. I have to really focus on the RPE scale, which is the rate of perceived exhaustion. I have to really monitor my fatigue at this point. Probably in the next week or so, I'll have to start decreasing sets, start bringing the volume down a little bit. I like to reduce the volume about 15% when I'm in a cut, only because I want to make sure I'm recovering. I'll just up the cardio, progressively up the cardio as the weeks go by, and try and just maintain muscle mass. Lift heavy in my core lifts, reduce the sets on the isolation work is usually what I do. But yeah, so we finished up the rows. I'm gonna do some machine rows, some pull downs, some shrugs, try to build the thickness in the upper back. So let's get after it. I just wrapped up the pull workout. As you can see, I'm done before the sun comes up. I had a great workout actually. I use a lot of machines, especially with back, because I feel like I can isolate the back more. I can feel the movement. Keeps me from cheating. It really helps me engage the back. The back's a tough muscle to hit, only because anything that you can't see is tough, I find. So using machines, isolation movements, and higher reps. Once you get that lactic acid in there, it's easier to tell what muscle groups are working and what areas of that muscle group. So I like to stick in the 10 to 15 rep range for back a lot. Shrugs, my traps are always really strong. Went up on shrugs, went up on the machine rows, went up in a bunch of my secondary lifts, which felt really good. So I might not have to reduce the volume after all. But Thursday morning, it's about 6:30 right now, just finished cardio, posing practice, and some ab work. I'm gonna show you what I got for breakfast here because it's a little out of the norm. Decided to treat myself today and have the old protein cookie and a nice cup of coffee with my flavored creamer and some honey. Now, this is really why I like kind of the flexible dieting approach, because if I want something like this and want to deviate from my standard meal plan, I can, and it's no big deal. Like the calories in this kind of unorthodox meal here, if you want to call it a meal, are only about 450. Macros aren't that bad, fat's not that bad, probably not that off from my normal breakfast of egg whites, oatmeal, and a piece of fruit. So having it first thing in the morning allows me to kind of work the rest of my day around it, and I'll just make it fit. Right now it's not that big a deal because it's early in the diet, but I still work these things in through the whole prep, because I think that's key to keeping the mental buy-in, is having the things that you want and giving into these cravings every now and then, because you gotta live life. You can't be so rigid, because that's how people fall off. It becomes too rigid and they become resentful of it. So I'm gonna enjoy my little meal here and then get ready for work. Week's almost done. Well, it's about 8 o'clock right now, just leaving the office. About a 14-hour day today. Came into work this morning, worked in the office for about 9 hours, had class in the evening for 3 hours, and then I had a project that I got tasked with. Had to wrap it up, and now I'm just getting ready to head home. It's a long day, full of meetings, real busy, got a ton of stuff done. My brain is fried, my stomach is screaming. I need to go home, get some dinner. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna head back and relax. Friday morning, 5:30 a.m. push workout. Heavy day today, so I'm doing the heavy overhead press. You can see it behind me. Strength is not there today. It's just struggling to get where I was the last time I did a heavy workout. Definitely not sticking to the RPE scale, trying to grind it out and make progress, but that's not the point of that scale, right? So I need to back it off. But I don't know if I'm tired or what. I had a long day yesterday. I didn't get home till about 9 o'clock. Got up early, and we'll be back at the office by 8 o'clock again today. So It's also the end of the diet week too. Tomorrow's a refeed, so been on 6 days of low calorie, so that could be it. But you're gonna have your good days and your bad days. You have to adapt to those, and I need to take a step back and recognize that that's what the RPE scale is for. So sometimes you're not gonna be able to lift as much weight as you did the week before, and that's fine. So you have to look at the bigger picture, making progress across a long time frame and not session to session. So I'm gonna get back to it. Just might have to just drop the weight back and get some reps with some lighter weight this week. But we'll get back into it now. I just wrapped up the push workout. The rest of the workout went really well. I think it was just that standing barbell overhead press was where I felt weak on. Everything else I kept the same weight and reps, or I went up on reps, and I went up on weight on the weighted dips. So rest of the session was good. I think that standing barbell overhead press is an awkward movement for me. It's still fairly new. I couldn't do that for a long time because I worked out in a basement and the ceilings were too low. So I've only been doing that movement for only a few weeks. So I jumped up in weight probably faster than I should have. And I'm probably just hitting a plateau just based on an ego lift really. So backed it off on that lift, about 20 pounds, and got in some good back off sets, and then the rest of the workout was solid. So I'm gonna have some breakfast now, head into the office, wrap up this work week, and get ready for the weekend. Friday night, a little after 9 o'clock, and I'm sitting here doing some math homework. So I'm working on my quantitative literacy homework. I had my first class this week, and now I'm basically relearning math. I haven't done math in forever, by hand anyway. I always rely on Excel and computers and calculators. We've really been spoiled with technology and the modern world. And, I didn't realize how incapable of doing math I was until I had to actually do this. And we're not allowed to use a calculator in our class. She wants us to do mental math. So let me show you what I got going on here. I spend most of the evening relearning how to do fractions and converting fractions to decimals and all of these things. So it was a challenge. It was like starting from scratch again. Sometimes I really kick myself for not going to college right out of high school. I think about where I would have been had I started and got my degree earlier. But then I recognize that in my early 20s, late teens, I would not have been in a position to dedicate the time on a Friday night to do my homework because I just was not prepared to learn. I had no interest in learning beyond what was mandatory. And I think you have to go through those experiences to really appreciate the opportunities that arise. Now that I'm older, I've worked to the point where I can really need the degree now. I want the degree. I see the value in the degree. I'm willing to dedicate myself and my time to make the most out of it. And I'm just open to learning now at this point. I've recognized the value of continuous learning at this stage in life. So it's just funny how things work out, and they say everything happens for a reason. I believe that, so I try to reflect on that whenever I think back and wish that I would have done it sooner. I think everything happened the way it was meant to, and will work out in the end better than it would have had it gone the other way. So I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna knock it out, at least a few more problems, and then I'm gonna grab one more small meal before I go to bed and then get ready to chill for the weekend.